I think the person trying to out a-hole Dinesh D'Souza is, of course, Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck, who is a man in search of a brand. He's been vacillating between this, like, I don't know, his little horse farm properties or his Arizona spa that he part owns or some shit, and then he's back on, Moonbase a-hole, his like oddly tronific nonsensical studios. I mean, it basically just looks like any right-wing studio that you'd have. I mean, this is what you got to do is, and I don't know how Rush Limbaugh managed to sidestep this. I guess it was a generalized understanding that he had to be rich so he could look like crap every day and his desk was a mess and like that. I was always amazed considering how much money Rush Limbaugh had and made that his studio just looked like dreck all the time, right? Glenn is trying to out money him by looking like he already has money, whatever this nonsense is with his ice mics and his blue hue, and it's very strange. Anyways, I totally have studio envy. I'm not hiding it all at all. I mean, what I could do with that space, and I mean, this is in case anybody shows up and like, who's this guy on my timeline? I want him to know right away who's eating their time. Me. This is for trolls who's this guy? It's right there. So, it's right there. And it's pretty simple. This is a normal lower third. You know what I mean? It's nothing really. It glows a little bit. But it's just a name. It's right there. And then my signature's up in the corner, which is a little graphic I made. And I made that partly as a logo, but partly for when this thing stopped working for a little while. I was like, all right, I got to brand it somehow and lock it in. But that's it. This is it right here. And then when we go to me like this, it's just that. So you're on your own. If you don't know who I am now, I don't know. It's tough. But nobody can complete with the number of, maybe Mancow in Chicago, who got all of his design style from, I think from Saddam Hussein, actually. But Glenn Beck is a close second, He's a radio Ayatollah. He's the Ayatollah. He's the Ayatollah of Asahola, and that's where everything has to have his logo on it and whatever. Okay, so that said, this video he put up is the 10 stages of genocide may be happening here now in all caps, but without any exclamation points. So it's now. It's not a no, it's more of a no, I guess. We'll see. Who can say? But apparently I don't know I don't know which one. I know the 4 stages of grief. Who doesn't at this point? Thanks, COVID. You asshole. That's today's word, apparently. But this is the 10 stages of genocide. I don't know if we'll get through all 10. I also don't know if any of the 10 stages of genocide involve getting something lanced on your face. Now, we do not wish skin cancer on anyone, and we also know that Glenn Beck has been spending an inordinate amount of time in the sun in an odd way, but he definitely has 2 circular Band-Aids on his face and some other curious spots. Glenn, we don't like you. We think you're full of shit. You're mean-spirited and a total dick and a coward and a fraud, but we don't wish ill health on you. We want you to live a long life where we can call you a coward and a dick and a fraud forever. You're welcome. Because I'm lovely. Oh, Gonzo, thanks so much. Oh, you're moving. Well, I hope you're moving someplace great, and we appreciate the super chat, which we'll go to. Can't stop lying today because it's his birthday. Thank you, Jill, as well. It's so great. Hi, Gonzo. Good to have you back, man. Good to see you. It's nice that you could pass by. I hope wherever you're moving, it's awesome. Okay. Now, maybe we'll find out what the spots on Glenn Beck's face are or were, but I don't know. But I remember just clicking on this and immediately going, Is that a something? It's a something.
Ultra-conservative members of the U.S. Congress and other...
Oh, okay. 1, 2, and a third one hidden by his hat. There's a bigger one up here. Are zits, lanced boils, or lasered spots of concern? I'm gonna go with you need a diet overview and an exercise plan, Glenn. You got to give your body resilience to fight back against anything, even diseases from the outside. You still got to, Botox. I don't think so. Call Dr. Pimple Popper. I think she just left.
Political officials with far-right...
Oh, another one. No, that's just a big Band-Aid. Okay, there might be something up in here, but that's a full-on band. That's a big one. Yipe. Glenn, yikes. Take a day off, dude. Shit.
Are waging organized and seemingly a well-coordinated attack against prominent U.S. biological scientists. In parallel, conservative news outlets, that would be us,
would it? I don't know if you qualify, but I don't know what he's talking about yet, so we'll see.
They are talking about us. I knew they would. Repeatedly and purposely promote disinformation designed to portray key American scientists as enemies.
Yes, yeah, that would be the Fire Fauci crowd. The this is all a plandemic. It's not real. They're trying to kill us by making us magnetic. And all we need to do is take some horse paste or fish tank cleaner. Oh, you think? Oh, you don't know? Oh, you haven't seen horse paste yet, have you? You missed horse paste. Okay, hold on one second. Let's see. Go in here. I think it's on the Daily Beast. It's in here somewhere. Let's see. Where is it? There it is. There you go. Just horse paste. Yeah, that's right. I'm already there, dummy. All right, hold on. Now I gotta log in and this thing. Give me a second, doing my thing, so you can see the horse paste story. Yeah, there you go. Pharmacists fight off COVID truthers demanding horse medicine instead of the jab. It's a great, by the way, fantastic artwork. None of this Newsmax Fiverr bullshit. They've got an animator or an artist on staff. Yeah. These geniuses have been convinced to pass on the vaccine and raid rural farm stores so that they can suck down sheep drench, which is also a thing. Sheep drench. I don't trust people who create a vaccine, but I will eat rural pharmaceuticals for animals. Now, we've heard stories of people using like farm antibiotics to fight stuff because it's cheaper than purchasing if you don't have insurance, the regular antibiotics. There's stories about this all over the place. That's not what this is. It's not snake oil, literally, but as bogus COVID-19 miracle drugs go, horse paste comes pretty close. As coronavirus infections raise across the unvaccinated, those suspicious of the shot are championing a new supposed COVID-19 cure thanks to a dubious study of Ivermectin, a drug used in humans to treat parasites like scabies. By the way, anybody who's touting Ivermectin has had scabies. Let's just, not that, and most people who've lived through the 90s have had scabies, but have definitely gone, I don't know, I took it for scabies, it's no big deal. Like, you have to get, by the way, you have to have an extreme case of scabies to where the shampoo or body wash they give you, like for lice, it's lice and scabies. If the shampoo and body wash stuff doesn't get whatever it is off you, and some people know that when I grew up in Kentucky, we had a family that went to my school, and they were the reason my third grade class got lice 3 times. One of the kids from that family was in my class, and they had brought in this powder and like dusted all of our desks with it, and she had to sit in the hallway and outside when she had, it was gross. Yeah. So anyways, poor thing. Devotees have besieged pharmacists with prescriptions from shady online prescribers, forcing pharmacies to crack down and treat the anti-parasitic drugs like opioids. As human-approved ivermectin prescriptions have been harder to come by, enthusiasts have taken to raiding rural tractor supply stores in search of ivermectin horse paste packed with apple flavor, which I think is that's an upside. I like anything that's apple flavor. I think my favorite Jolly Rancher flavor gotta be sour apple. Watermelon is also good. It's the only candy that, watermelon juice, gross. But if you're going to have candy, watermelon candy, Jolly Rancher, that was the way to go when I was a kid. Also, sour apple, very good. So, there you go. And weigh the benefits of taking ivermectin sheep drench. That beats the shit out of a tested antiviral a vaccine. And Ivermectin injection for swine and cattle. In their defense, injection for swine and cattle. Okay. There's certainly a noticeable increase in calls to poison centers regarding ivermectin being misused. A Texas-based poison control specialist who requested anonymity due to concerns of repercussions told the Daily Beast via email, "It's clear that a vast majority are associated with the belief that it will prevent or treat COVID. That said, I do want to be careful not to be sensational. There's no epidemic of ivermectin overdoses in hospital, but it's needless suffering given the lack of conclusive evidence of benefit, all to treat and prevent a disease for which there's a free and widely available vaccine." Why would you want to take a free and widely available vaccine that might make you magnetic when you can go to a tractor store, buy some sheep drench, and guzzle it because it's apple. Apple. How's the ivermectin? All right. By the way, the most common side effect from it is intestinal distress. But enough to get you hospitalized. What a terrible thing. To just roll into someone's hospital on a gurney, smelling like apple, and... Right. This, by the way, for the record, this is the face of a man who's sucked down some sheep drench. Again, if it's something serious, Glenn, I wish you well. But if it's not, couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
This cannot be tolerated. So now it will be a federal hate crime. That's what they're suggesting. This is a scientific journal, peer-reviewed paper.
Yes, unlike the papers where you're getting your medical information from.
Federal hate crime to criticize Fauci or science and scientists. Well, it was...
No. No, you can criticize Fauci and scientists. That's not what they were saying at all. Just in the little bit you read, I mean, unless it leads to violence against them, which, clearly some of the folks that they're talking about, because Glenn isn't calling for Fauci to be killed. He thinks that, because he's the entry-level Fauci and anti-vax mentality. He's the, if you're just putting your toe in the water of being an anti-vaxxer or wanting people at the CDC or the NIH murdered, you don't dive. He's not the deep end of the pool. He's where you get used to it before you really start swimming.
I mean, now they have completed. You have completed your journey to the dark side.
By the way, lately, Glenn has been watching my videos about himself and trying to do more voices to fantastic effect. Few people come across as more charming than a guy who actually is beginning to resemble the Emperor. Glenn, don't do it.
They have completed the circle and have become the medieval church. They've done it. They have completely become
because they're the stoning of heretics.
a society with inquisitions and lock you in the tower if you speak out against them.
And
well, no. If you call for violence against them, you can speak out against them. But yeah.
Congratulations, science.
And especially white conservative men, are the heretics.
Can I tell you something?
Here's how it works. Just for you two guys. This has nothing to do with you being white or conservative. This is the ramifications of being villainous assholes. It ain't, and by the way, keep in mind that these people think that BLM play the victim card based on race all the time. That they are against the playing of the race card or the victim card. Just to clarify. But please, Glenn, tell us something. Please tell us that you're actually black and you have a skin disorder that makes you look like Colonel Sanders.
I have always wondered a couple of things.
What do vegetables taste like, and what's all the hype? And why would anyone go to the gym? Are those the questions? What's it like? Great questions that bounce through Glenn Beck's mind. What would it be like if my diet didn't consist entirely of ding-dongs and Mr. Pibb? Is that the question? What if I could settle on one look for my studio instead of vacillating between Glenn Beck 1990s spaceship, and ski lodge, and I guess Reno, Nevada massage spa. These are the three.
I've talked about this for years.
Okay. Obviously, we're not. You've been talking about this for years. I haven't been watching you for years, Glenn. We watched you when you were on a real network and you had a blackboard, and mostly just for laughs. So, catch me up.
30 years. You and I first started talking about serious things 30, 40 years ago.
So you started talking about serious things, but you continue to be inserious.
It was exactly the same question that I now have answered. I've always wondered, how did the Germans not see this coming?
Not see this coming? Really, dude? How did the Germans not see this coming? Fucking hell. And by the way, what he means is how did the Germans not see that they were going to get in trouble for the whole, like, Auschwitz thing or whatever? I mean, come on. How did they not see that invading Poland was a mistake? They should have just bought it. Right, Glenn? How did they not see this coming? Not see this? Oh, shit.
How did Hitler get away with all of this? Second.
How did he get away with it? And, because I was reading this book on, if you want to accomplish something in life, you pick someone that was successful and just do what they did. Right, Glenn?
How did the Jews not leave? How did they not?
Yeah, I mean, wasn't it kind of their fault? What are you, stupid? Yeah, Jews. Holy shit. How did they not see it? How did the Jews not see it coming? Christ. What the fuck is wrong with you, Glenn? Holy hell. Yeah, didn't they get the fascism Amber Alert on their cell phones? What the hell?
See this coming. It's so clear who they were targeting and what.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of their fault, right, Glenn? I mean, if you didn't see it coming, do you really deserve to survive? I mean, isn't this, Glenn, what are you thinking? It's just Darwinism? The Ashkenazis aren't as smart as the dark web says they are?
Was coming. How did they not get out? I understand both of those now. How did Hitler convince the Germans? Well, it's happening here, right now.
One step at a time.
Yeah, history.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, one step. Of course, I'm curious. Okay, I was going to say something. I want to see what he thinks the first step is. God, this is awful.
Doesn't just repeat itself. History is repeating itself right now.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. I mean, Glenn, you might be blaming the Jews for everything because you name drop George Soros almost as much as Rudy Giuliani does. But the rest of the world, largely, especially the Western world of which you are a part, has moved on from that bullshit. Nobody's going, the greats, the elders of Zion or whatever the hell that thing is. Jesus.
Half of the country is being convinced that there is an evil menace that is trying to destroy everything that the other side loves.
Yeah, that's basically what your show is. Glenn, that is literally the narrative of your show every day. Now, luckily, you're largely a failure. You're not really, like I said, you're entry level, but you're not really turning anyone. You kind of are on a hamster wheel of right-wing talking points. So the rest of us kind of can relax, like you and Dinesh D'Souza and to some degree Ben Shapiro. There's just this kind of like whatever wheel that everybody gets on. They're not down the Tucker lane like that. You're not enough for the Tucker fans, right? So we're not too worried about you. But that is basically your show. Is that it's actually Poland is part of the Rhineland.
And they've got to be rooted out, and they've got to be indoctrinated or removed from society. That is what happened to the Germans. The second thing, the Jewish people, conservatives. When they say white people, they don't mean white people. They mean you. They mean...
Well, I don't know if he got moles removed. We're still trying to figure that out. I'm guessing he was cleaning his BB gun and it went off. So when they're all the anti-white rhetoric you hear is anti-Jewish. That's the storyline now.
Conservatives. So why aren't we all leaving? For exactly the same reason.
Because you only speak German and you can't get papers to get out of the country, and the Nazi Party has control over the borders. And, oh no, sorry, you could leave anytime you want. Bye. Also, holy shit. I mean, talk about, like, shit-talking America. This is, according to Glenn Beck, America is 1930 Germany. Right now.
I'm not leaving my country. No. My country is falling into madness. I am not leaving my country to become that. No. And it can't get worse than this. It can't get worse than this. Mm-hmm. I mean, people are going to wake up. At some point, they're going to wake up and see that this is wrong.
Yeah, this is crazy, but they're not going to go any further with it.
Right. And because people will wake up. I mean, my neighbors aren't going to turn on me because I'm fill in the blank.
Yes, fill in the blank, asshole. Please do. Fill in that blank. Your neighbors are not going to turn on you unless you were one of the assholes that stormed the Capitol on January 6th. But if you were just there, you're just their asshole neighbor. And you remain so forever. Nobody is coming for you, you egomaniacal dipshit. Nobody gives a goddamn. This is actually his nightmare scenario. It isn't that Americans are going to start snitching on each other for the state, and we're suddenly going to have a Chinese social credit score or any of that stuff. None of that. His nightmare is that things are actually improving and are relatively normal. I mean, we're not talking, he's been selling, you have to understand, in his regular, like, the biggest pivot point, I would say, for his entire show right now is the concept of the Great Reset, which is that there's going to be some sort of, like, a global, wiping away of all credit debt, all monetary, like, just a big, like, let's start from scratch. The thing's stacked up too much. It's a mess. We need to wipe it out and start fresh. And that it's going to be this basically like this Wizard of Oz like lever that some asshole pulls in Europe, of course, probably Belgium, someplace in the basement of the UN, that will gut the American economy, put us on one world currency. It's this softball conspiracy theory that he's like, it's coming, it's going to be here any day now. It's coming, it's going to come, it's going to be here. That's what he does most of the time. So when, let's say, like the day we had today, like, let's see, like this, here's what Glenn Beck is afraid of is not that, we're turning into Nazi Germany. That's not really what he's afraid of. Let me show you what Glenn Beck is freaking out about, besides the weird spottiness of his face. This news today is what's flipping out Glenn Beck and his ilk. This is the panic attack that they're having. When on the right, why they're jumping on the social issues and everything's a nightmare scenario, Marxism, blah blah blah, is because Biden's in office and things are improving slowly but surely. Like the outlier, 5.4%, down 0.2%, down 0.3%, which is almost entirely in the black and Hispanic job market, which dropped in the black unemployment rate dropped by a whole point. And since we're talking about 13% of the population, that's a significant number for the black population, and it was so big that it actually made a dent in the entire, like a 0.3 dent in the entire country's unemployment rate. Non-farm payrolls rose by 943,000 in July, better than the 845,000 that the Dow estimated. Job gains came fast in leisure and hospitality because people are going back to work to do stuff, followed by education, professional, and business services as people gear up to go back to school and the like. The Delta variant might be messing with that, obviously, but bit by bit, right? But July is just killing it. Average hourly earnings also increased more than expected, rising 0.4% for the month, and are up 4% for the same period a year ago, but that's, you got to weigh that against nothing. At a time when concerns were increasing about persistent inflationary pressures. The data for recent months suggests that the rising demand for labor associated with the recovery from the pandemic may have put upward pressure on wages, the BLS said in a report, though it cautioned that COVID impact is still skewing data and wage gains are uneven across industries, as you would expect, because they're trying to lure people back to hospitality jobs, whereas everybody else in the, in the managerial class, or in the salaried wage workers, or in places where the chance of upward mobility in a job is high, people are going back to work at the wage they had before. In shitty grind jobs, they're having to give more money to get people on board to those things, so that they at least have a little money left over at the end of their month, so that they can maybe put it towards their education or a side project that they're going to turn into a business one day. All that capitalist stuff that apparently Glenn Beck says that we're not going to have anymore. Markets reacted positively to the report. The Dow and S&P 500 hitting new record highs at the open Friday morning. It feels like a Goldilocks report. You have not too hot in terms of wages, but not too low in terms of job gains. That's adorable. The drop in the headline unemployment rate looked even stronger, considering that the labor force participation rate ticked up to 61.7%, tied for the highest level since the pandemic hit in March 2020. A separate calculation that includes discouraged workers and those holding jobs part-time for economic reasons fell even further, 9.2 from 9.8 in June. Bink! There we go. This not only was a strong jobs report by nearly every measure, it also signals this, and this is the part that scares the facial band-aids off of Glenn Beck. More good things to come, said Robert Frick, corporate economist at the Navy Federal Credit Union. Leisure and hospitality led gain in job creation, adding 380,000 positions, of which 53,000 came in bars and restaurants. Sector took the hardest hit during the pandemic, so stuff is coming back. You have to understand, right now Glenn Beck looks the opposite of looks like the opposite of the economy right now. Yeah.
And yet every day it gets worse.
Yes, it does. You mean Glenn's face? Again, I hope he's fine.
For every single day. Who is it that came up with the 10 stages of genocide?
Edwin Black.
Edwin Black.
Yeah, I love me some Edwin Black. Who? No, I'm sorry. I was thinking Lewis Black. I think the 10 stages of genocide was one of his specials.
Good
wasn't it?
guy.
Yeah.
Brave.
Brave, good dude. I mean, as dudes who come up with, stages of genocide go, he's tops. I like the cut of his jib.
On this list, do you think? The first one, the first stage, classification. People are divided into us and them.
That's already done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these guys can't even be in the same frame together. Jesus.
Symbolization. People are forced to identify
Symbolization?
themselves. It's already done.
Already done.
So you mean like calling yourself a conservative, or self-identifying as a conservative when you're talking about an article and you're reading an article that's about the genocidal reaction to a vaccine, for example, just let people die, who cares? The Darwinistic, I would say, reaction to a vaccine availability and the like, and it says conservative in there, and you go, oh, that he means me. They mean me. You mean that kind of? All right.
Discrimination. People begin to face systemic discrimination. You can't go anywhere. You can't participate in society if you're not vaccinated.
Well, sure you can. You can just participate in your own backyard barbecues, I suppose. But if it's the question becomes, should people tolerate you as a member of society if you're willing to kill them because of your own beliefs? Again, your own religious beliefs are cool, whatever you want to believe in this country, as long as they basically stop at the end of your nose and only inform your morals and ethics so people can tell who you are. If you have to wear the symbols, and that's the only way people know what your religion is, you got a problem. So does your religion, by the way. But in the case of these guys, well,
that's happening. You can't go on Twitter if you're conservative,
and
that's
yes, you can. Ben Shapiro's on, Candace Owens is on, the Daily Wire is on, the Daily Caller is on. I think, are they the same thing? Are they the news and video part of each other? Are they the paper or the digital front? I don't give a shit. There's tons of conservatives on there. Yeah. Why are you staring at me? What the fuck? Who believes this shit?
You know what's crazy is it's not the conservatives that are the major group that are not getting vaccinated. That's just not true.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not true.
Right.
It is African Americans.
That is the perception, though.
But the perception is because the government.
Dude, African Americans are not 35% of the populace. They are the majority in Bronx or in Brooklyn. And only by a little. They're the majority of the Bronx and Brooklyn. They're the majority of the people not getting vaccinated, which is a very small number comparatively to the public at large. They're not. Oh God, fucking the math these assholes make me do.
Government wants that perception.
Yes.
Why? Why does the government want that perception? Because conservatives, like the people that listen to Glenn's show, are more apt to not get vaccinated if they think they're in a group of like-minded people. So this is the 10th. This is stage 5 of genocide. The lemming effect.
Dehumanization is step number 4. People equated with animals, vermin, or diseases. You see that all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Oh, you mean like demon rats for Democrats? You mean like that? You mean like Hillary and Huma eating babies in the basement of a pizza parlor? Apparently the majority of Republicans, a slight majority of Republican Trump supporters. Anyways, that's a subgroup of a subgroup. Anyways, but a majority of them believing that Democrats are child sex traffickers
all the time.
Organization. The government creates special groups to enforce the policies.
That
the government forms special groups to enforce the policies. No, to enforce the law. And if he says that's totally happening right now, no, it isn't, because there is no government vaccine mandate. Private companies are doing it, and they're making the decision themselves, including Fox News, which has a vaccine mandate at their office. They fire people if they show up and they haven't been vaccinated. They don't call the cops and have you removed.
is happening in the administration as we speak.
What? Oh, you mean cabinet positions? Oh my God. It's part of a great conspiracy, guys. Because they have, no, think about it. They have like a National Institute of Health, and there's somebody in the White House that runs that. And then there's someone in the CDC, that they're always at the White House. And then there's like a working group on a bunch of different things. And then there's an infrastructure group that are working in coordination with the House Democrats and the House Senate to pass House Democrats and the Senate Democrats to pass a bill, and they're like, it's like a coordinator. They're basically brown shirts. Basically, it's brown shirts, right?
Right now, they're investigating white supremacy.
Right.
Well, yeah. As the single most dangerous domestic terror threat related to race and ethnicity. Don't worry, the Black Hebrew Israelites and the Moroccan kings, or whatever the hell they think they are, those folks are a close third.
I mean, they are also giving federal powers to the people like the Capitol Police.
Right.
The Capitol Police has now
is a federal organization that governs federal sites, and they're working in conjunction with the FBI because they have surveillance video and pictures that have to do with the ongoing FBI investigations around different states. So they're sending people out to do that. All right.
an arm of Nancy Pelosi, and you cannot give a Freedom of Information Act request.
This, by the way, this storyline's been floating around. Dinesh was talking about this yesterday. So basically, if you bleach Dinesh, it burns his skin. Don't do it. You get Glenn.
On the Capitol Police, and they are now starting to open up new headquarters.
In Tampa, Florida.
In Tampa, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They have several cities.
Oh my God, they're taking over Los Angeles and Tampa? Okay. May I? Let's see. What do we look up? Capitol Police, Tampa. I know this doesn't interest Glenn, but it might interest you. Hi there. In a July 6th press release about changes the U.S. Capitol Police is making in the wake of the January 6th riot at the Capitol, the agency announced it is adding field offices in Tampa and San Francisco, not Los Angeles, whatever. Not that they matter. They're the same city. It's just liberals and gay people and overrun by homeless people who are armed and drunk. I don't know. Since then, some Republicans have criticized the move as federal overreach or partisan power play to target January 6th Capitol protesters. What in the hell is the Capitol Police doing setting up an office in Tampa, Florida? Matt Gaetz said recently at a rally in Largo, Florida on July 31st, part of his Florida Man Freedom Tour. I mean, they couldn't even protect the Capitol in Washington, D.C., and I'm a Florida man, so I'm an expert on this. There is no Capitol in Tampa, Florida. It's not even our state capital, so I'm increasingly concerned federal government, blah, blah, blah. Gates, of course, entitled to his opinion or whatever. It's a good idea for the Capitol Police to be opening field office outside of Washington, D.C., but we thought it would be helpful. The future Capitol Police. The announcement about the new field office came in a July 6th press release from the United States Capitol Police. the release after the attack, the future of the U.S. Capitol Police, outlined a series of steps the agency is taking since the January 6th riot to support our officers, enhance security around the Capitol complex, and pivot towards an intelligence-based protective agency. Among the steps, the release said the USCP is in the process of opening regional field offices in California and Florida, with additional regions in the near future to investigate threats to members of Congress. Tampa and San Francisco were chosen as the first field offices. The USCP spokesperson told us because there were two states are where we're talking a big bulk of the threats. The plan in Tampa is to open a small office, just a few people, to speed up the process and work with authorities in these states, as well as the prosecutors, to make sure these cases are properly investigated, the spokesperson said. So if, for example, someone made a threat against a member of Congress, an email or online post that is deemed a credible threat, the Capitol Police Field Office would assist the local investigation. The spokesperson said the Capitol Police plans to open the two field offices by the end of the summer and anticipates opening more field offices in other locations around the country in the future. Not surprising at all. I mean, this is how the Secret Service came to be out of the Treasury. The threat reached that level, and if you're going to ignore it, that means somebody else has to pick up the slack. If the Republicans in Congress and the Republicans in those states are going to actively ignore the threats towards other members of Congress in our representative government, then somebody's going to have to make up for it.
Selected. Why?
So that's stage 5. Stage 6.
Yes. An office in Tampa is stage 5 of the 10 stages of genocide.
Polarization. The government broadcasts propaganda to turn the populace against the group.
Done.
Well, no, because anti-vaxxers are not a permanent group. And you also can't spot them in a crowd. Although they can't go some places, they might be denied going into places. That's because they are willing to bring a disease into a place. Hence, these guys would both be against people who know they are HIV positive back in the day and intentionally giving other people HIV, being charged with murder. They'd be against that.
That's done to about the 10th power.
Yeah.
Then we
to the 10th power. Yeah. I mean, if Nazis vilifying Jews during right before World War II is one stage of it, this is the 10th. This is times 10 that, because people who are not getting vaccinated are getting other people sick. Their own people, by the way.
To step 7, preparation. Official action to remove or relocate people begins.
That hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened yet.
You sure? You sure? Yeah, I mean, because you look like you had to fight your way through a chain link fence, Glenn. So
we're between 6 and 7 now.
So what is?
Yeah, we're at on the 10 genocide scale. We're like at a 62% Rotten Tomatoes freshness scale.
Other 3.
Persecution, beginning of murders, theft of property, trial, massacres. Fortunately,
I don't know. Isn't that already going on? By the way, you could just see that he actually thought that for a second. I don't know, man. I think they're rounding people up they attacked the Capitol and beat cops, but it's just did they really?
Doesn't happen.
I
Extermination.
think that one will happen before 7.
Extermination,
Yeah. Whoever came up with this list is an asshole.
wholesale elimination of the group. That obviously not happened. And denial. The government denies it's committed any crimes.
Okay. Well, we got 2 out of the last 4.
Yeah.
So the government's denying that it has rounded up, murdered, and incinerated people, Glenn? The American government? I mean, at what point, why is this just not on RT at this point? Glenn, why don't you just move over to Russia Today at where the big bucks are? They'll give you a real spacey looking set. It'll gonna be that you can collect all 4. Maybe that one will be red.
Here's the thing. I know Edwin Black. Edwin Black has been a long time friend
And you, sir, are no Edwin Black.
of mine. He is one of the most. He's the bravest researcher I've ever seen.
The bravest researcher I've ever seen. Obviously, you have not watched any Vice documentaries about cannibal tribes.
He will take on the biggest of the big. He is Jewish. I think his parents many in his family were killed in the whole Holocaust. And it has been a lifelong goal to document who the real villains are, because it wasn't just Hitler. It was
Oh boy.
companies like IBM, and it was a very well thought out.
By the way, every computer in Glenn's studio is an IBM based computer. It might run on some form of Windows, but this is not a Mac run studio. This is all IBM PCs. Just so you know, just to clarify.
Plan.
Like those graphics in the background, all that stuff. Yeah, IBM technology. He's running that off of a PC. Guaranteed.
Very well documented, and he spent a lifetime documenting it. I did an hour podcast with Edwin Black. You should look it up on YouTube.
No, I'll pass. But I trust you that it's an hour long.
We went over those 10 steps, and each one of them went over, and I said, show me how this is happening. And he did. And he said, I said, so where are we on this list? Just the question.
Yeah, and he said between 6 and 7, but I should have put 7 before 6, but I'm an asshole. Thanks for pointing that out, Glenn. I mean, it's my life's work, and I've really looked into it, but if it wasn't for you, I'd have my whole list fucking backwards.
You asked me.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we are a lifetime away from the Holocaust, or a day.
Oh, that's helpful. Okay, thanks, man. Big help. All right, well, then, fuck it. All right, everybody, let's just wrap it up. And, I mean, it's Friday. We'll cut it a little bit. We'll hit it hard on Monday. Because the genocide starts, the Holocaust starts tomorrow. Or 100 years from now. Or not at all. Or it already happened. Or we're already in the middle of it. Or, what, shit. In Australia...
And I said, what do you mean? And he
said, you don't know what I mean? You don't know what I mean? You're in the don't know what I mean group? If you don't understand, you're probably one of them. You're one of them, Glenn. Listen. Sorry. Okay.
We've already done all of the hard ones. We have just not.
Yeah, just the easy part is the rounding people up and incinerating them. The hard part is, getting people to fight with each other over social issues. That takes work. But building the showers and the ovens, I mean, like that.
Officially built a camp. We have not officially said we're going to round them up. But he said everything is laid, everything is there.
The groundwork's completely done.
They're tracking you based on who you vote for, what you say, who you're talking.
Who's they? Corporations? I'm sorry. Are we talking about Nazi Inc. now? Who? What do you mean they? Holy shit.
So they know where to get you. They know where you are. They know who your family and your friends are.
Oh, he's talking about Facebook. I see.
That took the Germans a long time to do that. That's already done. He said, so we may never hit it, or they could begin tomorrow.
All right. So sleep tight. Have a nice nap. And if you wake up in a cold sweat with heart palpitations, you have Glenn Beck to thank. It may never happen, but it may be right around the corner. And that's because what we do is, and this is pretty simple, in our magic list of the 10 stages of genocide, the first 6 have already been taken care of by normal modern society. All you have to do is assign nefarious purposes to, things like the DMV, And what the Nazis could have done with I don't know the voter ID laws, right, Glenn? Jesus, this is so dumb. The left's pedophilia problem. But enough about the dehumanizing of folks, right? Far left's long-term plan to demonize white conservatives exposed. This has been planned. Do you see I see a theme happening here. And it's the kind of theme that happens when people try pot for the first time and are just not made for it. Yeah. Okay, so needless to say, Glenn Beck is a paranoid, and that's why I guess he had to get multiple cells on his face lanced. But again, this is, I think it's a perfect logo, is that Glenn Beck, the GB with the circle around it, because basically he's in a talking points hamster wheel. That's his show. Ugh.